You know, in the world of old school RuneScape, some of the most lethal players you'll ever meet are also the easiest to take down. It's this fascinating, kind of backward strategy called being a pure. And today, we're going to dive into how turning weakness into a weapon actually works. So let me ask you this. What if the secret to being the most feared player in the game was to make yourself as fragile as a piece of glass? It sounds completely insane, right? But that is the core idea we are unpacking today. So first things first, what in the world is a pure? Let's pull back the curtain on this totally unique and frankly, brutally effective way to play. Okay, so at its heart, a pure is a total specialist. It's an account built for one thing and one thing only, to completely dominate other players in combat. The whole strategy is about hitting as hard as humanly possible, while basically tricking the game's math to make you seem way weaker than you actually are. And really, the best way to think about it is the classic glass cannon. They can absolutely shatter opponents with just, overwhelming damage. But if they get hit back, they can shatter just as easily. It's this super high-risk, high-reward playstyle that is just awesome to watch. And this right here really shows you the difference. See, a normal account, you're going for balance. You want to be a jack of all trades. A pure just throws that entire idea in the trash. They completely ignore defense to pour every single point they have into offense. It's a totally lopsided, all-or-nothing kind of build. So how in the world does that actually work? Well, to get the why, we have to pop the hood and look at the game's secret code. The logic behind the pure is all buried in the math of the combat formula. Which leads to the million-dollar question, right? How can having basically no defense give you an edge in a fight? It feels like it shouldn't work. But it all comes down to how the game adds up your overall power level. All right, here's the secret sauce. Think of your combat level as a number the game uses to match you against other players. Now, here's the trick. Not all of your skills add the same amount of weight to that number. Your defense skill? Oh man, that's like a lead brick. It adds a ton of weight. But attack and strength, they're like feathers in comparison. So by keeping defense at rock bottom, a pure can max out their damage while keeping their combat level deceptively low. It's like a heavyweight boxer getting matched up against a featherweight. It is not going to be a fair fight. And once players figured this out, they ran with it. It's not just one type of pure. Oh no. It's become a whole spectrum of different builds. A whole philosophy, really. You can kind of see the evolution here. You start with the classic, the one defense pure. That's the ultimate glass cannon. But then things get interesting. Some players will strategically add a little defense, say up to 20, because it unlocks special armor that boosts their prayers. Others go up to 40, which gives them access to a wicked spell called Vengeance that reflects damage back at an attacker. Every single level is a calculated trade-off. So to really see how these trade-offs play out, let's do a deep dive. We're going to dissect the most iconic pure build of them all. Let's talk about the Granite Mauler. Even the name sounds tough, right? This is probably the most popular one defense pure build out there. And it's all built around one single devastating weapon. So, the foundation. Defense level 1. That's it, the absolute floor. Next up, attack. It's parked at exactly 50, not 49, not 51. 50 is the precise requirement to wield the Granite Maul, and that's the source of its knockout power. And finally, the engine room. A strength level of 99, maxed out. Every single point that wasn't spent on defense is funneled right here, and this is what creates that massive fight-ending damage. Okay, but let's be real. If you're a glass cannon, you're gonna break. A lot. So how do you not just go completely broke? Well, the key is using untradeable items, special gear you get from things like quests that you don't lose when you die. So you'll see them rocking gear like the bear head or ghostly robes or a Zamorak cape. Because these items can be reclaimed for little to no cost after death, it almost completely erases the financial risk from each fight. It lets them play totally fearlessly. And this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the mindset behind it all. For the most dedicated players, this isn't just a game, it's a business. I mean, this quote really says it all. The goal isn't just to win, it's to be profitable. Every single fight becomes a calculated risk, where the entire point is to make sure your earnings are consistently bigger than your losses. And the numbers are kind of wild. Look, a single death might cost you around $500,000 in-game gold for supplies. That stings. But a good hour of fighting, you could be raking in anywhere from 200K to over 2 million gold from other players' loot. the potential reward just blows the risk out of the water.
It all boils down to this magic number, 2 to 1. To be profitable, a pure has to take down 2 players for every one time they die. It turns player versus player combat into a game of skill, strategy, and just pure statistics.
Which brings us right back to where we started. In the wild world of old school RuneScape, players figured out that by exploiting the rules and embracing a strategic weakness, they could find a level of power that balanced players can only dream of. It makes you wonder, right? What other systems out there could be completely dominated just by thinking outside the box?